For so long, hearing the word cancer meant you were also bracing for the treatment, which, let's be honest, could be brutal. One major review called it, and I'm quoting here, onerous physical and psychological challenges. But right now, today, the entire playbook for how we fight this disease is being completely rewritten. So let's dive into this incredible revolution in cancer treatment.
Okay, so what's this all about? At its core, this whole revolution comes down to one massive shift. We've gone from what was basically blunt force, systemic attacks that kind of carpet-bombed everything in their path, to a totally new era. An era of precision and personalization. Seriously, think about it like this. It's the difference between dropping a bomb on a city and hoping you hit the target versus sending in a team of elite specialists to one specific address.
All right, so here's the game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to take a quick look back at the old war on cancer, just to set the stage. Then we'll get into the exciting stuff. 3 new game-changing strategies. We're talking precision strikes, unleashing our body's own army, and even rewriting the code of the disease itself. And finally, we'll wrap it all up and see what this new era really means for the future. So, Section 1, the old war on cancer. The modern fight against this disease has been going on for a long time, over 170 years in fact. It really started with the first surgeries way back in the mid-1800s. Then it evolved with the discovery of X-rays and radiation, and then it took a huge leap forward with the development of chemotherapy, which actually came out of research during World War II. But, these powerful tools, they had a huge downside. They were just not specific. Chemo and radiation, they're designed to go after cells that divide really fast, which is, of course, a hallmark of cancer. But here's the problem. A lot of our healthy cells do that too. Think about your hair follicles, your digestive system. They're also dividing rapidly. So you end up with all this collateral damage. And that, right there, is the key point. This created this urgent, desperate need for a much better way to fight. And that need for a better way, well, it brings us right to our first new strategy, precision strikes. This whole idea is built on something that sounds simple, but is absolutely revolutionary. What if we could create drugs that can actually tell the difference between a cancer cell and a healthy cell, and then attack with just surgical accuracy? So one of the first weapons in this new precision arsenal is something called small molecule inhibitors. Okay, here's a way to think about it. Picture a cancer cell like a factory that's gone rogue, and it has all this specific machinery inside that keeps it growing and multiplying out of control. Well, these drugs are like a custom-made key designed to fit one single lock on one of those machines. You slip the key in, turn it, and it shuts the machine down, bringing the whole cancer operation to a grinding halt. Now, this next piece of tech is fascinating, especially because of the powerful nickname it's been given. It's often referred to as a biological missile. And this is talking about a class of drugs called antibody-drug conjugates, or ADCs for short. And that name, biological missile, is just a brilliant way to explain how they work. It's this really clever 2-part system. So first, you have an antibody. That's basically the guidance system. It's programmed to seek out and lock onto a specific marker, an antigen that's only found on the tumor cell. Once it locks on, boom, the entire missile gets pulled inside the cell. And then, and this is the amazing part, only then is the warhead, a super potent toxin, released. It destroys the cancer cell from the inside out. I mean, you can't get more targeted than that. All right, let's jump to our next major strategy. And this one kind of builds on that idea of specificity. But what if, instead of making new drugs from the ground up, we could just awaken our body's own natural defense force, our immune system? What if we could turn it into the ultimate cancer-fighting army? Well, that's the revolutionary idea behind immunotherapy. See, one of the sneakiest tricks cancer learns is how to hide in plain sight. It puts these proteins on its surface that basically act like a disguise. They tell our warrior T cells, hey, nothing to see here, just move along. It's like it hits the brakes on our immune response. So what do immune checkpoint inhibitors do? They're drugs that block that hiding signal. It's literally like releasing the emergency brake on our T cells, letting them finally see the cancer for what it is and go on the attack.
But what if we could do even more? Not just release the brakes, but give our T cells like military-grade GPS and advanced weaponry. Well, that is the incredible concept behind CAR T-cell therapy. They actually call it a living drug. Here's how it works. Doctors literally take a patient's own T cells out of their body. They engineer them in a lab, giving them a new receptor, a chimeric antigen receptor, or CAR, that is custom-built to hunt down a specific cancer. And then they infuse these brand new, juiced-up super soldiers back into the patient's body to do their job.
And the speed of innovation here has been just absolutely breathtaking. I mean, the first generation was basically a proof of concept. But scientists did not stop there. They started rapidly adding new components to make the cells more powerful, to help them stick around longer. Then they built in safety switches and other controls. And now they're working towards the Holy Grail, creating off-the-shelf universal cells that wouldn't have to be custom-made for every single patient. Just incredible.
Okay, so now we get to our third strategy, and I've got to say, this one sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. We're talking about rewriting the code. These are approaches that go way beyond just targeting proteins or activating cells. Nope, these aim to alter the fundamental biological instructions that are driving the disease in the first place.
So, let me just ask you this. What if we could create a custom training program for your immune system? A program designed specifically to hunt down the unique signature of your cancer. That might sound futuristic, but it's the exact principle behind personalized cancer vaccines.
So here's the breakdown. Because cancer cells mutate so chaotically, they produce these unique markers called neoantigens. You can think of them like a little name tag that screams, "I'm an invader." So what scientists can do is, they can sequence a patient's tumor, find these unique name tags, and then create an mRNA vaccine that has the instructions to make them. You inject the vaccine, and it basically teaches the immune system, hey, see this? This is the bad guy. If you see this marker anywhere, seek and destroy. It's truly personalized medicine.
But we can now go even a step beyond training the immune system. We can now directly edit the source code of life itself, our DNA. Welcome to the world of gene editing, a tool that has almost unimaginable potential.
You've probably heard of the most famous of these tools, right? CRISPR/Cas9. The best way to describe it is like a pair of molecular scissors. It uses a guide molecule to find a very specific sequence in our DNA, and then an enzyme comes in and makes a super precise cut. This lets scientists do amazing things, like disable a faulty gene or even snip in a new healthy one.
And of course, a technology this game-changing doesn't just stand still. There's an even more advanced method called prime editing. So if CRISPR is like molecular scissors, you should think of prime editing as more like the search and replace function in a word processor. It can make an even wider variety of precise edits, and it does it without making a risky double-strand break in the DNA. That means it offers even more precision and potentially more safety.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, the precision strikes, the immune therapies, the gene editing, what does this new era of cancer treatment really look like? Well, it's all about the power of a diversified arsenal. We now have a toolbox, and it's filled with intelligent, specialized, and increasingly personal weapons.
And here's the crucial takeaway. We're not looking for one single magic bullet anymore. That whole idea is kind of obsolete. As the research makes clear, these new technologies are reshaping the old cancer drug market and ushering in a more diversified era of tumor treatment. The future isn't about one hero drug. It's about creating elite squads, right? Combining immunotherapies with targeted drugs, or maybe pairing a vaccine with a checkpoint inhibitor to create these multi-pronged, overwhelming attacks on the cancer.
And the sheer scale of this transformation, it's just staggering. I mean, look at this number. The global market for these kinds of anti-tumor drugs is projected to hit nearly $126 billion by 2029. This isn't some small niche area of research. This is a fundamental global shift in medicine, and it's backed by enormous investment and scientific will.
Which of course leaves us with one final and really tantalizing question. With this new arsenal, an arsenal that's this powerful, this precise, and this personalized, are we finally actually witnessing the beginning of the end for cancer as we've always known it?